Burger King and the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission want you to know about the voluntary recall of this Pokemon Pokeball. The ball may pose a suffocation hazard to children under 3. Throw the ball away or return it to Burger King. The safety of your child is of the utmost importance to us.
I think we all know what Pokemon is. One of the most internationally iconic and beloved series in all of the world. However, all the way back in 1999, a recall involving this beloved brand would occur. More specifically, with their deadly Pokeballs, and with it, involving one of the most iconic food companies in all of the United States, Burger King. So without further ado, let's take a look into this insane story. Being created all the way back in the wake of 1996, it was within that year that the Pokemon craze had begun, and never stopped. Being created by a man named Satoshi Teragachi, his reasoning and ideals behind creating the extremely iconic and beloved brand was due to his odd but understandable childhood love of bug collecting that would transfer into his 30s. So when as mentioned, come the year 1996, Satoshi was arguably taking a notable risk with his Pokemon brand, and with Satoshi's ASD, or Autism Spectrum Disorder, for someone would arguably in his position, was a bit of a leap out of his comfort zone. But to the practical overnight big bang of love, praise, and obsession that the Pokemon brand had. So much so, it was reported that the toy was within the top 5 most popular toys of 1996. And with its card-like appeal that was very unseen for the national toy market, that gave it a very special novelty that not even as of the new year, 2024, no other toy has been able to quite replicate. But all throughout the second half of the 1990s, Pokemon was everywhere you could imagine. From the empty shelves of Target to the small halls of even GameStop, the Pokemon craze throughout the 1990s was truly unescapable, and unlike anything that the world has never quite seen before. And on April 1st of 1997, the Pokemon anime/TV series would be released to the world. And only as recently, as late as 2023, would the iconic series be cancelled for its lowest popularity on TV, but having a good 26-year run nonetheless. But nevertheless, in 1999, when the Pokemon craze was arguably at its most infamous, in connection with the Burger King company would do a crossover of both iconic and beloved brands. Following the release of the nationally popular Pokémon First Movie, Burger King had seen an advantage to be a part of this national popularity and had jumped upon it. And in November of 1999, a mass of these Pokeballs would be released all across the United States to Burger King locations that from this map shown would be everywhere you could possibly think of. And with millions of these toy balls being sold all across the United States would in turn make the Burger King company millions of dollars. And what practically made these Pokeballs so popular is the fact that there was a small Pokemon in all of these Pokeballs. So imagine being a kid, getting one of these Pokeballs in a kid's meal your parents got you. As a young child, that would be a very fun and exciting experience, especially for such a popular toy. And as mentioned, it was because throughout the late end of 1999, these Burger King Pokeballs were sweeping across the United States. And with the extremely huge collectability factor of the Pokeball toys was just another huge factor in the overall popularity of this Burger King promotion, such as a reported 6 gold-plated large Pokeball collector's items to all be bought separately. However, with the seemingly innocent frame and size of the kid's Pokeball toy, you would think from first sight there would be no threat or problem with the 2.75-inch and 3 diameter size toy. However, with the detachability factor of the toy would end up being the critically flawed part of this extremely popular toys. But with it being reported to be Burger King's most popular promotion in company history, and with shortages occurring all across the United States, you might think that this would be a dream come true for the Burger King brand. Well, as it would soon be learned the extremely hard and tragic way with these Pokeballs riddled across the United States would prove to be lethally bad. On a cold winter's night in Northern California, in the eve of December 11th of 1999, when a 13-month-old toddler identified as Kira Alexis Murphy had reportedly been found deceased, suffocated to death in an apparent but clear connection to the small frame Pokeball, where it was reported that the family of the past child had went to Burger King just hours before, and when found in the toddler's playpen was a Pokeball attached to her face, which had reportedly created an airtight seal around the toddler's front face, which from investigation and example from the CPSC, or Consumer Product Safety Commission, just shows how easily and dangerous these Pokeballs can be, not just to choke on, but unwrap, take apart, and worst of all, suck on. So we're soon following this discovery from the CPSC. The Burger King company would do one of the most idiotic, dumb, and downright disrespectful things ever. Instead of taking action and responsibility towards the clearly dangerous toy, the Burger King company would decide to keep the clearly dangerous toy on market just due to the massive profit that they were making off of the 56-day promotion. But after the two sisters had found their passed away sister Kira, were soon following the entrance of their mother, who went out of the shower, was disturbingly enough as quoted as saying, "I came out and found her with the ball over her mouth and nose." Further saying she had to physically pull off the Pokeball toy, said the grief-stricken mother, told the Los Angeles Times. So we're soon following this clear but dangerousness of the toy, the CPSC would order and urge an immediate recall of the deadly toy, as well as recommended to end the promotion of the Burger King Pokeball to stop the spread and reach of these dangerous toys to avoid any more injuries or worse deaths. However, with as mentioned, just due to the millions of dollars that the Burger King company was making off of the promotion, there was no way that for the time they would immediately commence a recall and pulling off of the toy out of their menu. And if this was to occur, the Burger King company would be engulfed in controversy and would further argue that this incident was just a fluke, and further argued that the 13-month-old Kira Alexis Murphy could have passed away in a multitude of other possible ways, which, to play devil's advocate, isn't out of the question, but with the investigation from the CPSC showing that the Pokeball toy has the ability to indeed suck on the face of a toddler, shows clear evidence on the dangers of the toy. So as a way to reach a middle ground with the CPSC and Burger King, they would both work together in bringing out the facts of the Pokeball being potentially deadly to young children of the ages of 3 and under, and to furthermore destroy, throw out, and even return the Pokeball toy for a small serving of fries. But around the time when this whole Pokeball fiasco was going on in the state of Kansas, another reported incident involving these Pokeballs would occur directly related to the first incident, with it being reported that a Pokeball being attached to the face of a child as young as the age of 18 months old, where with this discovery, the father of the suffocating child had ripped the toy off her face, and the father reported blue lips that his daughter had received, often meaning an extreme lack of oxygen and low blood level in the body. But thankfully, the 18-month-old child had survived and made a full recovery. But with a now reported 2 incidents relating directly to this toy, it's clear the toy was a danger to younger children, and with growing but clear outrage towards Burger King and this death trap disguised as a toy, it's clear something had to be done soon and fast to stop another incident from occurring. Come the year 2000, in the wake of the new millennium, this controversy involving these Pokeballs would transfer right with it, because with a reported mass-scale recall involving these Pokeballs occurring nationally, due to a reported 1,000 kids' meals a day being sold in connection with these Pokeballs, would often leave parents and kids frustrated, angered, and just overall displeased about the fact that they were unable to get a kids' meal that for months on end was heavily advertised. But by this point, it's clear that this whole Pokeball situation was a matter of life or death by this point. So as a way to swell a general anger and dismay that the Burger King brand was receiving, ironically enough, to the dismay of Burger King, local, state, and national news started to report heavily on the Pokeball story and clarified to the public on what was going on, which the Burger King company was heavily against. Nonetheless, for the safety of the public, was informed on this recall and what to do if in possession of the deadly toy, and around this time, it was as well informed to thousands of hospitals and Burger Kings to be informed on the developing nationwide story, to as well look out for choking and suffocation incidents in relation to the toy, and as well to print out warnings, caution signs, and labels about the dangers of the toy. However, these warnings would prove to be a little too late, because on January 25th of 2000, almost a month after the new millennium, a 4-month-old identified as Zachary Jones in the state of Indianapolis, Indiana, was found deceased in his crib after reportedly being found dead in the same way that all other incidents had occurred, with the Pokeball being suctioned on the face of the child, in turn doing what we were all familiar with by now, suffocating the child to death, but to some extent was thankfully reported to be the last death in connection to these Pokeballs. With the mass-scale recall in full swing and extremely successful at that, these Pokeballs were nationally taken care of and destroyed. However, soon following this controversy, Burger King was not completely off the hook, with the company having to pay serious compensation for the families affected by these Pokeballs at all undisclosed amounts. And with public hate towards the Burger King brand at an all-time high for months following this incident was bad, but not critical for both Burger King and Pokemon brands. And for the remaining Pokeballs that weren't destroyed in the year 2000 is an interesting to say the least, just due to the fact that online it's really easy to purchase and buy these Pokeballs online, due to the fact that these Pokeballs were made in the millions, and ultimately an old reminder and time stone of what happened a quarter of a century ago. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this very tragic, insane, and infamous Pokeball recall. I want to say there is some message to be said about action not being taken sooner because of greed, which is, yeah, true, but I feel as ultimately, at the end of the day, is something no one could have 100% predicted to happen involving these Pokeballs. With that, I've been Skipper Son, and I hope y'all have a great day.